Alrighty. Hello, team. I am opening up my Coke Zero because it's the first thing in the morning and I, of course, need it. Let me know what you're doing while you're watching or what you're drinking or whatever. I said, pleasure to have you here with us. But I have a question before we start. Okay, so actually, I have two. Haha. One, we're starting today with doing some project planning because there is a project that I need to plan, funnily enough. Also, it was voted on by you good folks. I lied, I now have three questions. So the first question, I suppose, is were you one of the people to vote in the poll? Whether it was for this option or a different one, I would love to know because we were looking at my statistics the other day and it seems that like a good chunk of people watch on a device, which means you can't see my community tab, and I didn't know that. And now I feel so bad because I feel like you're missing out on stuff. My community tab is where I post things like the Friday Fun, which is effectively just like a fun little kind of like, sometimes it's like pick between two, or sometimes it's a like pick between nine kind of thing, just to, you know, gauge people's interests in different stuff. But yeah, do you see that? Do you watch on a device that allows you to see the community tab? Because we noted that television watchers and tablet watchers, weirdly, tablets in particular, can't. I know they're not called iTablets. Anyways, so that's a question. Second question, which was actually kind of the question that I thought of first, I suppose, is what kind of project planning do you do? Like when you have projects in your life, what kind of projects are they mainly? Like, are they kind of, I don't know, like personal projects, around the house projects? Are they projects for work? Are they projects for like, I don't know, a side hustle, side gig kind of thing? Like when you think of project, what type of projects are you doing? Because, you know, obviously my project is going to be a little bit different to most people's. I, in particular, today am doing project planning for a video related project or a video series. That's not to say that the information that we're talking about here can't be valuable, but I'm just a bit curious. And then my third question, which of course now I've forgotten. No, excellent. Okay, so as said, I like to put little kind of polls on the community tab. I like to put on like, you know, Friday fun, little posts, whatever, that kind of stuff. And as said, people voted to have the project planning today. So my question, third question, because I'm just hitting you with all the questions today, it seems. I apologize. It feels like I'm coming in with a lot here. But the third question is, what other kind of things would you like to see on our live streams? Because we've done things like pin swatching, we've done things like project planning today, we've done things like the productivity sprints and stuff. But I would love to know if there is anything in particular you want to see, because, you know, I'm here for you guys and also to plan my project. Anywho, that's a lot of rambling, which means, of course, time to dink because I haven't had anything to drink today. Excellent. Yeah, it was really odd though. We found that you can see the community tab on iPhone, but you can't see the community tab on iPad. Huh? Dear YouTube overlords, please fix this because what the heck. But oh well. So yes, in terms of project planning, this is as far as I've gotten. This is my project plan. So I have actually done a little bit of brainstorming, but that's in my action plan for the project. And the project that we're working on today is a bullet journal basics series. So it's effectively a series of videos that is very kind of introductory level to try and like help people when they're just starting with bullet journal. Not to say that there's not going to be some nuggets of wisdom in there, that other people could use, like if you've been at this gig for a while, like me. But yeah, so I have done a little bit of brainstorming, but what I thought we would look at first before we get into like the actual kind of planning of the project, because I haven't necessarily thought through exactly how I want to do this, but I was kind of thinking about it yesterday and today, and what I'm calling like the shapes of projects, which sounds very woo-woo, and please stay with me on this because I'm not thinking like, you know, let me just show you what I mean. Okay, so we'll put this guy to the side. Get out some paper and hope that the camera focuses on the paper. I mean, as best as it can. It is white on white. So shapes of projects. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking about the idea of like a project is a series of tasks, right? So the series of tasks could be task after task after task after task after task. It's kind of like a line shape. It's like a linear project where you just do one after the other, after the other, after the other. Yeah. And then I was thinking like, well, that's not necessarily going to be the way that every project works. Like some projects don't have just like stepwise, you do this and then you do this and then you do this, and they all kind of flow nicely. So I was like, okay, well, what other kind of shapes do we have for projects? The question of which bujo I'm putting this in, I don't have a dedicated projects bujo because different projects to me would go in different places. It also depends on how long the project is going to take. This is kind of a short-term project, so it's going to just be going in my everyday bullet journal. So just like with all of my April spreads sitting in here, because it's a project that, in theory, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're releasing in May. I say we as if there's multiple people here. I am releasing in May, right? So series of steps, right? Not all projects are like this though. That's not how, I mean, a lot of my projects aren't very stepwise. Like some of them you can track back, some of them not so much. Though the nicest way I find with this kind of a project is to think about what you want to end with and work your way backwards. That way is the easiest, I find, for this type of project. But some projects aren't like that. Some projects are more like what I'm calling like either a jellyfish, because it sounded cute, or like a tree, yeah? So instead of having one after the other, you can have steps that happen at the same time. Or like it doesn't really matter what order they happen in, but they all have to get done in order to get to your end point, yeah? Whee! Kind of looks like an onion now as I've drawn it out, eh? It has layers. So that would be your end point. And that one has a bunch of steps that you need to do, but they're not necessarily in order, yeah? They could get done in any order, but they all have to get done to get to the end point, yeah? So that was one possible shape that we have. And then the other shape, which is kind of a little bit more what I typically do, or what I would typically consider my video making process to do, is cyclic. Yeah, it's a cycle, right? So all of our steps, they happen in like a rough order, I suppose, but it's not just a one-off thing. It's not like a do this once, do this once, do this once, do this once. It's a do this and then this and then this and then this and then this, and then start it again. Yeah. Okay. So this is like a project with repeated steps, yeah? So each part of it is like a little cycle. And then I was thinking about it, I'm like, okay, so if these are our shapes, yeah, so we've got like the line, we've got the tree, the jellyfish, the leaf, the onion, whatever you'd like to call it, and we've got like the circle or the cycle, yeah? Then like what type of project am I really working with here? And I'm thinking that it's actually a combination of all of these, which is fine. You know, I think that a lot of projects are complex. They're not just going to be like, you know, easily fit into one box. So my project, I'm thinking, is going to start with a little bit of linear, possibly. This is just, you know, not to scale, right? Not necessarily the right number of steps. We're going to have a little bit of linear stuff, and then we're going to have a little bit of steps that could happen at the same time before we move on. And then we're probably going to have a little bit of a cycle. Whee! And in amongst that, we'll probably also have some steps that don't necessarily have to happen in the same order as well. So it could be a cycle that also has a little kind of branching part here. Yeah. It starts to look a little bit messy, but hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. Yeah. The idea that projects, like if you try and just map them out in order, that can sometimes make it more confusing almost, because these things don't necessarily have to happen in order. They could happen in any given what way. So like, for instance, one of the steps that I'm going to have is like setting up a playlist, right? A playlist being set up does not have to happen in here. A playlist could happen like here. So then we can have like one branch that then just goes like pretty much to the end of the project. Yeah. It doesn't have to happen as part of a cycle. Like I'm not going to set up playlist after playlist after playlist. And I also don't have to have it set up before any of this. It could get set up after, you know? So there are some steps that like have to be sequential. There are ones that have to happen before something else happens. And then there are ones that happen over and over and over. Yeah. Anyway. So that's kind of what I was thinking in terms of like project shapes. Yeah. It just makes it a little bit easier in my mind to see like what kind of strategy I should employ to do different things. Because if you've got a linear part of a project, then I find a checklist very easy, especially a sequence checklist. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, do this, do this, do this, do this. Yeah. If I have a cyclic one that I have to do multiple things over and over again, what I find a lot easier is something more like a table. Yeah. So I have however many iterations of the cycle I have to do. So like iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4. And then I have step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And then as I go through, I can tick them off and get things done. Yep. So this is kind of akin to my regular video making process, I suppose. I have each of the different videos that I want to make and each of the steps that I need to do to make those videos, and then I can check it off in this kind of a table. So because I'm doing a video-based project, this is certainly going to be part of my project planning. I'm going to need to have this because it's just the way my mind works. And then I was thinking about this guy and the best way to kind of present information like this. And I think that, again, you can use a checklist form, like that would totally be fine. But it doesn't matter so much if it is sequential, because these things don't have to happen in order. They just all have to happen before you go to the next step. So it's kind of like all of this and then the next thing. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So we're probably going to use a bit of a combination of mainly this one and this one today, because I think that in terms of the sequential part of my project, it's the kind of stuff that doesn't necessarily need to get written down, I suppose. Or like it's going to get written down, like doing of the step, it's going to get written down, but it doesn't necessarily need to be in my full project plan. So cute. So ugly. But that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so working on my project. And as said, my project is going to be about making a bullet journal basics series, which of course I would love your help with in terms of planning this project, but we'll get to that in a second. So going all the way back, and by that I mean like 5 pages. So this is where I've started kind of planning my project, or more so this is planning my goal. Yeah, because I think patrons have seen this, or what I'm now calling you team members, right? Team with a capital T. So you guys have already seen this. This is my quarterly check-in, kind of, going through how's life going right now, doing my level 10 life, what goals have I been working on? Do I still want to work on them? What kind of goal ideas do I have for quarter 2? And then what are my goals for quarter 2? So one of my goals for quarter 2 was to release a bullet journal basics series. Make and release a Bujo basics series. We're working on that name. That's one of the things that we need to do. So when I was planning this goal, I've mapped out like what is my ideal outcome? Like what do I actually want to accomplish here? What kind of metrics of success do I have? Like how do I know that this has been successfully completed, I suppose? And then how will I know I'm making progress? And what kind of action steps do I have? So I've already kind of started thinking about this part, like the checklist kind of part, yeah? But this part still needs doing, and I think this probably still needs a little bit more work, but yes. So the steps that I've got so far, you can see these little guys here. So 1 means it's a one-off thing. You just do it once. M means you do it monthly. W for weekly. D for daily. I don't have any steps that I have to do on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis for this project. There are steps that I have to do repeatedly, and that's why we're going to have that table, because of the cycle of steps, but they're all technically like one-off tasks. Yeah? So brainstorm beginner topics. That is going to be one of the biggest things that I have to do, because I need to figure out what kind of videos I actually want to make. Yeah. So a brainstorm is always, I find, a very good way to start a project. Just get all of your ideas out and then try and find like connectedness between them, figure out which ones are actually like reasonable in terms of the project versus which ones probably aren't. especially for projects where you can have so many ideas that they can start conflicting. Like, let's just say that your project is to plan a wedding, yeah, okay, because that's it's a big project, right? So in the planning of a wedding project, you might be like, oh, okay, I want to have like an outdoor vintage setting, or another one would be like, no, I want to go like super traditional and have it like in a church with a whole bunch of like, flowers and decorative stuffs and whatever. Can you tell I haven't really planned a wedding before? Anyways, but it's like, you can have all of these ideas about the settings you want, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be running around between like 5 different settings on your one wedding day. So you might need to par back a little bit. Starting with the brainstorm, though, really helps to make sure that you've got all your ideas there. Like, they're not going anywhere. You're giving them kind of, I guess, a prized space on your brainstorm because it was valuable, but you do need to kind of par back from there. So starting with a brainstorm, we're going to do that. Once I've done that, I then need to collate my beginner topics, right, to actually pick out the ones that I kind of want. And then I want to map the connected topics, yeah? So ones that are like collections in general, and then the different types of collections. So it'd be like, the core 4 collections of the bullet journaling system or something, and then we'll have a separate video on indexing and a separate video on the future log and a separate video on the monthly log, that kind of thing. Because in making those connected kind of links, it's really going to help me later so that I know which ones actually should kind of like follow on together. By knowing the connections, I can sequence the videos better. Hopefully that makes sense. Anyhow, so we need to map the connected topics. We need to make the content progress tracker, which is effectively this guy here, right? This is what I consider my content progress tracker. Because like these are the series of steps that we do to make the content, and we tick them off as we go. Nice. So we have that. We need to do scheduling of releases, which is going to come like way at the end. We need to make the videos, which notably has to happen before that. So this action step brainstorm, certainly not in order. Set up space to collect future beginner topic ideas. I need to do that. Review the Bujo U course for topic ideas, which I have kind of started but haven't gone very far. It says promote berries, but that's because I can't pay attention to what I'm doing most of the time, so it should say series. And then brainstorming the video making stages, make master video guide, which is effectively just going to be like all of the video content put together in like a kind of like long form deep dive type thing, yeah? And then my reviewing of the starter year survey, because I thought that there might be some good steps to get our video ideas out of there. Alrighty, so if we have a look at it, and we're just gonna fold that over because we can use the back side of the paper. That's fine. This pen is particularly inky. The one that I'm using for this, it's the Pilot sign pen. I just really like that it's a really kind of vivid black. Oh, hey, Bright Violet Hearts. Valerie, it's such a pleasure to have you here with us. We're doing some project planning. It's going well so far. So doing my brainstorm of beginner topics is probably the first thing to do. But yeah, the new Bujo berries, boom. So the beginner kind of brainstorm is more of what I would consider the multipath tree, onion, leaf, whatever we're calling it, because there are several parts of actually doing the brainstorm. I guess we could say there's like the initial brainstorm. Yeah. And then from the initial brainstorm, we have my thoughts, my ideas, what I think is valuable. And then we have all of the other different places to check for ideas, but they do not have to be in order. Yeah. We don't have to like, check the survey, then check this, then check that. But what did we say there was? There was the survey to check. Survey. We have Bujo U to check. We have something else I feel like I wrote down, but maybe I'm confused. Collate, question mark. And I'm going to say that the fourth one is going to be you guys, right? So if you have any ideas for the Bujo Berries series, because now that's what it's called in theory, berry basic. I love that. Okay, I'm going to have to make it so that everything is berry themed. If you have any ideas of things that should go in a bullet journal basics series, I would love to hear about them, mainly because as someone who has been doing this a while, it can be kind of hard to think about what beginners need, Yeah. I've had some people reach out and give some ideas so far, which has been super appreciated. Things that I just didn't necessarily think about. Yeah. Like stuff like, oh yeah, like how do you actually use the pieces of paper that you trim off Dutch doors? And that's not to say that I don't offer that kind of stuff in my content already, but the idea with this one is that like this is an all together. I can see why we think they're lips. Mwah, 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 mwah. Okay, so good folks of the internet, I'm going to call you guys the team. And then this one would probably just be question mark. Other areas, like any other areas of inspiration that comes up. Yeah, not to be convinced with Boho Berry. Okay, so once we have done that, once we have all of the brainstorming parts done, then our next part is to kind of sort the ideas. Yeah. So sorting the ideas is pretty important because otherwise it's just a jumbled mess of whatever. Okay. So sorting the ideas actually into just like keep versus not keep. I'm going to write that down because otherwise I'll get confused because there's going to be a lot of sorting steps here. Okay, so sorting it into keep versus not keep. Once we know which ones we're actually keeping, then we can think about the kind of mapping or linking of those ideas. Yeah. So and this was that step that's very important for the kind of video making process more than anything else, is like once I know the links between the different topics, I know how to sequence them better in terms of release. I also know things like when I get to the end of the video, yeah, when we get to the end of the video and I say, hey, if you liked this, then maybe you should check out that. If I know what the links are, then it's a lot easier to plan what I'm recommending you next. Yeah. So I need to know those kind of things. Ooh, okay, so go over how to decide what collections you need and are useful. All right, I need a place to write this down. Excuse me. Because otherwise, I will forget them because I'm that way inclined. It's not a sideways with JJ. How dare you? I mean, it could be a sideways with JJ. It's beautiful. It's obviously an open mouth that looks kind of like the Joker, being all like, do you want to know how I got these scars? Kind of thing. Mwah, 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 mwah. It's not a JJ, it's an onion, indeed. Alrighty, so while we write this down, so Bujo basics. Berries. Nice. So we've got the idea of like picking your collections. Nice. Love it. And which ones you shouldn't. There we go. Gorge. See, this is why we needed to have like, you know, multiple names for this so that everybody feels seen. All right. So we've got the onion or the leaf or the jellyfish or now the vajayjay. Wow. To index or not to index. Ooh, excellent. Writing that down too. It's like my brainstorming book's just having a great time coming back and forth, back and forth. Indexing. Why even bother? I like that. The jingle jangle one time and it's your go-to now. Nice. How I choose a Bujo theme. All right, I'm not going to bring the book back, but I am going to write it down. So we'll bring back our beautiful picture that we've now decided looks like a certain something. I pick things. Nice. Gorge. See? And the OG method for sure. 100% going to be putting that in there. So let's see. Any way to demonstrate how collections work and things migrating in between? No, I get you. So the migration process in general sounds good, and how to choose colors or themes. I am going to, what's the time? It's 24 minutes, okay? I'm going to write down 24 minutes. So I know to come back to this point in the video and get all of your ideas because you guys are like totally onto it. So after we do the sorting and like knowing what steps we're keeping or what parts we're keeping and which parts we're going to not keep anymore, all right, we can then link those ones together using mapping. What we listed right now or before? before, over there with my brainstorming book, we're listing ideas for the bullet journal basic series. There we go. So, survey video team, sorting it into keeping or not keeping, and then mapping or linking. Once it's mapped or linked, then what do we need? Because I'm like, technically speaking, the making of the what do we call it? Content progress tracker actually doesn't even need to happen as part of this. Like, it can be like a separate off the chain kind of happening. It doesn't actually need to be part of this sequence at all. So we're going to put it here. Make progress tracker. The only thing that this needs to be done before is the actual starting of the videos. Yeah, so before I start making the videos, that is something that I would like to do. But it actually doesn't even need to happen before the brainstorm, though there is one step before that. So we'll put that here because that's on a different path. Okay. So the step that needs to come before making the progress tracker is actually picking the steps to put on the progress tracker. Yeah. Check ideas next to 24. 24. Yeah, Murphy's got all the ideas. You're actually very, very correct. I'm going to go write that. Check ideas. So look at you go. So we had a question. You should, or as part of your normal content tracking. I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. I'm gonna leave it for now. Okay, so making a progress tracker. Before that, we actually need to like pick video making steps. And that's not to say that I don't have a very good idea of what steps are included in my video making process. Yeah, I think that that's just, could technically be split into two. Like, it could be like brainstorm the steps, pick the steps, but I'm like, I can put that in one and it still feels like a small task. Like, that task would probably only take me about 15 minutes maximum, mainly because I like to overthink things. If I wasn't overthinking things, it would take me about 5. So we've got to make the progress tracker kind of like side quest, I suppose. It's still relevant to the journey, though. Still relevant to the journey. I'm responding to what I'm saying. Yeah, I track the content progress tracker as part of your normal content planning. Okay, there we go. Yeah, like, I've already got those steps written somewhere else, so it's like I don't really need to. Video about the Alistair method for very basics. 100%. I love the Alistair method. So we've got this part here, which is where we're kind of still heading, because the making of the progress tracker, there's then the populating of the progress tracker, and that is going to be a sequenced step, because I can't populate the progress tracker until I actually know which videos I'm going to want to make. So that one has to happen after we kind of get to that stage in here. Yep. So once we have done the mapping and the linking, then other relevant steps to this are things like actually picking which video topics are going to be the ones that we want to keep. And then sequencing those for release. That's an important step. We also need to decide the what's the kind of like end card links, or like, which video is actually getting recommended at the end of each one. I would like to know that going in. So how do we sequence those steps? Because I feel like the picking of the videos obviously has to happen before we decide the links, because there's no point in picking links and then not picking the video, like not knowing if the video is actually going to be there. That would be silly. So picking the videos probably has to happen first. And that's going to be a sequential step. Pick videos. Yep. So once you've picked out the videos, then we can I think I need a separate piece of paper. Haha, thankfully I have like 3 of them. So we said that picking the videos was one of them. We said that selecting end screen link was another. We had populating the tracker. which technically populating the tracker and selecting the end screen link don't have to come, like, they don't have to be sequenced, yeah? They're technically quite unrelated things, I suppose. But selecting the end screen link, I know has to happen before I start planning the video, because I want to have that before the video starts getting planned, so I know where the video effectively has to end, yeah? You start with the end in mind kind of thing. The populating of the tracker is really part of like the pick videos, make the progress tracker. So that one's kind of like they go into each other, I suppose. Like once I've picked the videos and once I've made the progress tracker, then I can populate the tracker. But I don't know if I want to have it so that it's like populate the tracker, select the end screen link, but because that doesn't really make sense, it would be more like another possible branch. Feels like there's going to be a very interesting looking map, but like, hey, that's kind of, what would happen. Alrighty, thought it would be more likely to look at the community posts over on my phone if you included that as a reminder at the end of your videos, like, sub, and check out the community posts. Alrighty, that's a good note to note, I suppose. Also tink because I'm thirsty. Yeah, I think that I try to make it so that at my end of my videos, I've only ever got like one thing you're doing. One, I don't like to assign homework in general. And two, I feel like people are more likely to do a thing if there's only one thing to do. Which is why I felt so bad giving you guys 3 questions at the start of this video. Like, oh my gosh, the audacity, Jessica. I just got here. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So let's say populating the tracker is going to go about here, and then selecting the end screen link is going to go there, because then both of those things have to happen before we actually start making content. And those ones are going to happen as part of a cycle. Yeah. So open up our beautiful map again. So this guy is going to be the next step, because this is effectively like another branch, I guess you could say. Like that one comes down to here. And this one, just turn it around so I can see, is the one that feeds into it. Whee, splat. So this step, or like, I don't know, action, is going to be the populating of the tracker. So both these things, like the picking video steps and then making the progress tracker, and then all of this stuff has to happen before we populate the tracker, right? You can't populate the tracker if you don't know what the video is going to be, and you can't populate the tracker if you haven't made the tracker. You can't make the tracker until you pick the video making steps. Yeah? Ooh, have you done a video about having Bujo in a lined notebook, but maybe a comparison versus benefits? I do have a video about doing lined bullet journal bullet journaling, line journal bullet journaling, but it's a bit old, so we could put that one in there too. Alrighty, so we've got that one looking cute, and we've got, yeah, so we delete multiple comments through a video if the person asks questions, that we have the same ability to timestamp the comments now. True. Yeah. It's one of those things that like I do try not to give you guys multiple questions in a video, because I know that like you'll answer the first one, possibly, like if you pause the video to answer, and then you'll be like, Jess, what the heck? That's like too many. Calm down. Like some people go back and edit their questions, which is very sweet. I'm like, oh, thank you for, being so accommodating to my neediness. So that was one part. And then the next part I'm going to draw off here, and we decided that one was the selecting the end screen link. So I'm just going to write end screen links. Yep. So now as we have the end screen links and the populating the tracker, once we've got that stuff done, then I can actually start doing the content. And the content is going to be cyclic, yeah? Mainly cyclic, okay? So if we think about the steps that go in to making a video. We're just going to move my journal out of the way because I would hate for the pen to go through the paper, because, as said, this is a very inky pen. We don't want to get bleed through into my journal. So things that go into making videos. Titles. Thumbnails. These are not in any particular order, by the way. We have the kind of like plan or script, depending on the video. We have the prepping pages, That is not how you spell prepping. Oh my goy. Prepping pages. So especially for like ideas videos and stuff, you have to like make the pages before you actually film the video, because otherwise there's nothing to show. And then we have, let's see, prepping the pages. We've got the actual like filming process. So we have film, A-roll, which is usually like the part where I'm either, the part that I'm actually actively talking in, I suppose. And then we also film the B-roll, which I'm not great with B-roll, to be completely honest, but I'm slowly getting better, so haha, wins for me. Once we have the filming process done, we then have the editing process. And editing in itself is like crazy huge. Editing is a very large kind of part of it. This is the pen, if it wants to focus. Thank you. This is the Pilot Pure Liquid Ink sign pen. It is gorgeous. I love this pen. Yeah. So, voodooing in a blank notebook for sure. I think that would be a really good video idea. I'm glad that I gave myself a timestamp, because you guys are still giving me some great ideas, and I can go back and read through them, because you guys are the real MVPs. Alrighty, so we have filming, and then we have the editing process, and editing takes such a long time. It is the like no me gusta area of the edit, like the whole process. Editing is the one that I don't like, but it's also the one that I could outsource it, but I'm a control freak and I refuse. Is editing 1T or 2? I'm going to leave it as 1 because I don't know. Editing. And in terms of editing, there's plenty of stages that comes with this. And then I'm wondering, like, do we want to do all of these together? Yeah, because it's kind of going to be a branch. So we have the color correction if we need to. We have the trimming of fluff. We have voiceovering if we need to. We have kind of like, as part of my editing process, I like to go through and like put in indicators for the chapters. Editing also includes like title cards, which is different to the title and different to the thumbnail. These are like those overlays that I use to separate different parts of the video. Yeah? Okay, there we go. Thank you, Emily. 1T. Because I'm just like, I don't know. Alrighty, let's see. We've got, like, genuinely trying to think, like, when I edit a video, what else do I do? Like, there's plenty of stuff. But yes, there are other parts in here as well. We'll just leave like a couple. And then once it's edited, then we do the exporting. That one's nice and easy. We also need to do the caption making. We also have the uploading process, because that's kind of part of the cycle. Like, for each video, you have to upload it. Upload. And we have the... Oh, we never put sequencing in here. That was a very important step that we missed, and this is why we're doing it on scrap paper rather than in my bullet journal right away, because that would bother me. Let's see, we had the scheduling, and then we have the time cards, or stamps, or whatever we call them. And we have the monetization settings, because this is my job. And we have any like cards that, like, little cards that pop up at the side, when you're watching a video and sometimes a little card pops up at the top right hand corner to say like, hey, they're referring to this video. Yeah, those are put in by me, or like by your creators, so that's something that they have to put in as well. And then also the end screen. There we go. So that looks pretty good. Ooh, what do I use to edit? Great question. So my editing software that I have been using is called like Wondershare Filmora. I know that a lot of people use things like Adobe products, Premiere Pro, iMovie, whatever, those kind of things. I yeah, when I first started off, I was like, okay, I need an editing software that I can buy as like a one-off package kind of a thing. And that was the one that came up first when I searched. So I was like, hey, that's the one I will use. So we have these processes, and I think that I'm actually going to treat them as two separate things. Like they're all going to go on the progress tracker because they're all things that need to get done for every single video, but I don't consider them to be like a loop unto itself. Like I can loop my editing and exporting like up to here, and then there's a separate loop which is the uploading process. Yeah, so we have like the making loop and we have the uploading loop, I suppose you could say. And we decided in here that we do actually need to sequence before we populate, and in that respect we need to pick the videos and then sequence the videos and then populate the tracker. So this actually has a little step in here that has sequence the videos. Yeah, so before we populate the tracker, we want it sequenced so that then I can actually put them into the tracker in the correct order. Mainly because there is a very high likelihood that I will not actually have all of the videos prepared before May starts, which means that I'll still have to be making them in May, which means I would like to start with ones, like start the making process with the ones that are going to be released first. That makes the sense. Yes. There we go. So yeah, boff. Once we've done that, once we've got our end screen links, because then we know how to do our planning, editing, scripting, we can actually do our cycle. And then the cycle part is going to be kind of like what we were talking about here, like a cycle that has parts that can happen at the same time. Like when I do my editing, I do typically do all my color correction at the start, but sometimes I tweak it as I go through. So we kind of like thumbnail and title, like they could happen kind of roughly at the same time. And even if it's not like fully make the thumbnail, it's like thumbnail idea, but it's kind of separate to the planning, prepping, filming, editing kind of thing. So like planning, scripting, prepping, they can happen kind of roughly at the same time. So if we draw it out as a line first, because you can start as a line and then make it into a loop, it makes it easier. So we have whatever the video is. We'll just say like video idea, nice and easy. And then from the video idea, we have the planning scripting route, and then we have, plan and prepping. And once they're planned and prepped, then we can do the filming. And the filming of A-roll and B-roll, they just kind of happen together. So we're just going to keep them here as film, as that kind of idea. Once we get to the filming space, then after that we do the editing. And editing, we're just going to do a little editing blob because it's easier, has all of those different parts. Like editing has all the different stages, like the color correction, the trimming, the voiceovering, the making title cards, yada, 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 yada. So that all goes in there. Once the editing is all finished, then we can export. Export. And then once we export, we can upload. But you can only upload, like an actual proper uploading process can only happen once you've got your title and thumbnail as well. Like there's not a lot of point in my mind of uploading the video before I have these things sorted, because otherwise it's just going to end up looking a little bit like, it's one of those things that like I'm more likely to forget steps if I don't do things in a certain order, if that kind of makes sense. So this is the kind of thing that we need to do for each video for the like going from the idea to the upload stage. Yeah. And then things in the upload stage, like they don't have to happen sequentially, but I typically do them sequentially because they go through a kind of like like when you upload a video, if you haven't uploaded a video to YouTube before, when you upload a video, there are a series of pages that it takes you through to kind of set all the stuff. So it's like setting all of the video details. So like the title, the description, the thumbnail, the tags, like all of those at the very first kind of screen. And then the second screen is about like, do you want to monetize this video? Is it open for monetization? So you're like, yes or no. Yeah, of course. We have to be this productive on a Monday. Otherwise, like, what's the point of having a Monday off? If you're not spending your time off being hyper productive, then what are you doing? I have trouble taking breaks.
Hello, Rachel. Good morning. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Oh, we pressed another one. Do you have an MS project as part of your Office package? Interesting. I don't think I do. Or at least I haven't seen it before. Are you going to post this live stream? All of my live streams get posted after the fact. Like, all of them are still available to watch. So if you are here on the replay, thank you for being here. Such a pleasure. You know, we've been going for 45 minutes now, which of course also means it's drink break time. Dink. And I mean, like, of course, if you're here on the live too, like, eternal appreciation as well. So, once you've gotten to the second screen where it asks you if you want to monetize, it asks you things like, you know, how do you want to monetize this video? Do you want to have ads at the start, ads at the end, ads in the middle? Or do you want to have like these kind of like hovering ad cards at the side of the video or something like that? I usually only go start and end because I don't like the idea of my video being interrupted by ads. Like, I know that when they first rolled it out, where people could select whether they did or didn't have mid-roll ads, they just defaulted everybody's videos to mid-roll on. And I had like a 1 hour video come out because it was a flip through, and people were like, oh, I really liked this video, but it's a bit ridiculous that you put 9 ad slots in the middle of it. I'm like, it wasn't me. I didn't know. So I went and turned that off because I'm like, that's absolutely ridiculous. It was like you get like 3 minutes of watch time and then another ad would pop up. It was stupid. Anyways, so yes, once you pick your monetization settings, you then have to kind of verify that your video doesn't have any kind of features that would cause it to be demonetized. So like swearing is one of them. Things like violence, hateful speech or anything like that. And then like, you know, there are obviously kind of levels of those things. So it's like if you're showing violence, but you're showing it as part of like a news article versus if you're showing like video game violence or like whatever. And then after that one, you get to the screen that asks you to choose things like cards and like the cards that pop up in the corner, like we talked about, and also the end screen elements and like how long do you want to have them on, which end screen elements do you want, so like placing those in the right part to make so that it doesn't like sit over your face at the end of your video, because that's like, I mean, one strategy, I suppose. It would be kind of cute if you had like your face as your YouTube picture and you just set it over your face at the end of the video. That would be kind of cute. But anywho, so yeah, all of those steps, and then you get to actually schedule the video. Like the last screen is like, do you want this to be public now? Do you want to set it as like an instant premiere? Do you want to have it unlisted or private or like whatever? So those are the steps effectively that I have to do every time I upload. It's one of those things that like you get a lot faster with it the more that you do it, but it still isn't necessarily a quick process. Yeah. So that's when we get to the upload stage and we can do all of those steps. So although they don't have to be done in order, I kind of consider them in order. Like I consider it in terms of screen by screen. So in terms of that, we would have like, I'm just going to call them screen 1, screen 2, screen 3 because it's easier. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4, screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, screen 4. And I think there's a 5th. Yeah, there must be 5 screens. Screen 5. And then the video is done. Yeah. So this is the kind of loop that I have to do for each of the videos. So that will go into this part here. So populating the tracker is then just like, populating the tracker is kind of like done. You don't, do I have to actually do anything after I populate the tracker? But yeah, okay, so end screen links. After we've done that, we can go into the cycle and the populating the tracker, and then you can go into the cycle. So then you can check it off as you go, because that's effectively how I keep track of the process of making all the videos. Go. And I'm just going to draw a couple of little circles out here because we know that this cycle is actually this. There we go. Cute. Now I'm just going to call it video making. Nice. Okay, so that's our little loop there, which we go around and around and around. And then once the videos are all made, then we can do all the uploading, or we can do that as we go. It's all good. We check it off on the tracker. What we then also need to consider, though, is we bring back our little plan. Our little plan. Making the videos, set up a space to collect future beginner idea topics, that's fine. That's like a separate kind of aside, I suppose. Promoting the series, making a playlist, brainstorming, video making stages. We've technically already done that. Oh, look at us go. Look at us go. We've actually done a step on my project plan. Well, action plan for my goal. And then the master video guide. That one also needs to be made and planned as part of this process. So I kind of need to know that after possibly the sequencing stage, like picking the videos, sequence the videos, populate the tracker. That makes sense. But the sequencing also takes me off to making the master video thing. But the master video thing actually has to happen like after I do the video making. So sequencing, which I'm just going to tack out the edge here. It's probably just the easiest way to do it. And then after the video making, we're just going to put a line that comes off this. It's fine. It's all good. Then we have the master video guide. Nice. Okay. So remember, the master video guide is effectively taking all of these smaller videos, not necessarily all of them, they're the ones that actually make sense, and putting them into a longer form video, which all kind of comes together. Yeah. Are there videos you have already made that could be part of the basic series, or are you looking to make all new ones? That is a great question. I am, like, technically, yes, there are ones that I could put in there, but because they haven't had, like, the intentional thought put into them, I suppose, like, you know, how things link together and all of that kind of stuff, I am probably just going to make new ones. And that's not to say that I'm not going to use the kind of content from the old ones. I won't necessarily use the actual videos themselves, but like the way that I've worded things previously, if I'm like, oh, that's some good wording, I'm just gonna like plagiarize myself, you know? Like when you have to do an assignment multiple times and you're just like, hey, I got this right the first time, I'll just do it again. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. Like, so some of us had to do certain university courses multiple times. Anyways, shh. So I do want to make the master video guide. That looks good. What we also need to do is have videos get put into the playlist, and we need to make the playlist. Yeah. But the playlist technically doesn't have to be made anywhere on this kind of like train, I guess you could say. This is a complete aside. So we can actually probably put that up here of make beginner playlist. And I know that we do have like if you're a bullet journal beginner, then we do have like a playlist already. And that's where I put all of my kind of so far beginner topics. But this one is going to be like its own special playlist. Yeah. I'm just going to put that through the initial. There we go. Ta-da. So that's another part of our beautiful project here. Okay. So what else? He died in 1912, so you say 1912 is the year he died. It's exactly like that. I don't know if you guys have seen the picture. There's a picture of like, you know, when you're trying to bump up to that, you know, insert number here word count, and then instead of saying baby peas, it says very small, young, early peas. I'm just like, I love that picture. It makes me happy. All right. begin a playlist made once the videos are all made, and then we can actually put them into the playlist. So putting them into the playlist, I think, actually comes as part of this upload thing though. So I need to have it done. I don't actually need to have it done, but I'd like to. I'd like to have it done before I actually start the video making. I need to like make the playlist, caption the playlist. Making the playlist has its own like set of steps, but you actually have to set it up, and then like, you know, we'll just put like playlist details. It's easier. And then we'll just do playlist short link, because like technically it doesn't need to happen in order, but I'm just gonna do it in order. Yeah. And then once all of those are done, then we can have it poink come into here. Yeah. Because if the playlist is at least set up before I start making the videos, then I can add the videos to the playlist as we go, rather than waiting for like all the videos to be done and then setting up the playlist. Because as said, I might not necessarily have all of the videos made before we start releasing the videos. So having the playlist already done makes sense. I feel like that was a lot of words. Hopefully you get it. Yeah. Let's see. 1990 was the year that he left his plane of existence and joined those that were previously deceased. Yeah, up that word count. So once we've done all of those and we've got the master video guide, and that's like a separate kind of side project, which doesn't necessarily need to happen at the same time as this. Like, it won't necessarily get released in May. It might be one that gets released in like October or something like that, because I want to have like all of those things kind of done first. Once we've got all of the videos made and we've got them uploaded, then we can do the promotion, I guess. Yeah, promoting the series. I just want to check that there's nothing else that I want to do before that, because like promotion to me feels very like end of the run. Yeah. So it's like, not to say that like I effectively put out a video, post on Facebook to say that it's up, and then just leave it to die. Like, that's not what I'm doing. And, you know, there's also kind of going back and interacting with the comments and harvesting new ideas. That sounded really creepy. It sounded a lot more creepy than I meant it to. Apologies. So making videos, schedule releases, that's cool. Sequencing, yep. And then, alrighty. So after the video making, it looks like a sad Pokeball. Oh. We can do the promotion part. Yep. Promote videos. We'll promote the series. It looks like it comes off the wrong angle, but it's all good. Dory or Nemo. It's like little fish. And then after that, we have like, you know, all of the kind of after stuff that comes that I don't really consider to be part of the project. It's just part of being a kind of engaged creator, I suppose, is like, you know, responding to comments, harvesting new ideas, all of that. Yes, harvesting the new ideas, like they're like wheat or something like that. And I'll come through with my little harvesting scissors and collect them for future ideas. And then put them in like a little hay bale off to the side here. There we go. That's my hay bale. I can't draw hay, but you kind of get the idea. Hey. That's a complete aside, though. We need to put that in a box of not related to the projectness. Okay, cool. Alrighty, this looks pretty good. I think that that's a pretty good way to start. Like, as said, there are other steps at the end here, but it's almost the kind of thing like you don't actually have to have your full project planned out to start your project. It totally looks like a chocolate log, doesn't it? That's why it needed the label. So this is gonna take me plenty of time, so that as I'm working through here, I can start to consider like, what does end game really look like? And that's what I was kind of saying before. Like, if you have just a full sequence of steps, starting at the end and going backwards can be very easy. So this type of project was kind of like my Cricut setting up, right? Like, I wanted to have my Cricut set up in a space that I could use it, you know, where it was actually plugged into power. I could do projects and stuff, but before that, I needed to have a space for it. Before I had a space for it, I needed to actually have, like, you know, my office tidied up and all of those. It was like those kind of sequence of steps. This one is a lot more complex. There's a lot more moving pieces. No, not a scythe. Harvesting scissors, indeed. Snip, 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 snip. So now we can go and start to put these things onto my project plan, right? So like we said, part of it is going to be a progress tracker, and then part of it is going to be just kind of like a list of steps that I need to do. And some parts of those are going to be in order because they need to be sequential because they are part of like a set series. And then some of them don't need to be sequential. They can kind of happen whenever. Yeah. So we're going to tuck our beautiful picture here to the side, so that I can still see it. Put it on this side so that then you guys can also still see it. And then we can bring me journal back. Me journal. And also have a drink because it's drink break time. Tink. Remember, hydration is important. Yeah, tractor is probably better than harvesting scissors. I guess it really depends on how much you have to harvest. Like, a tractor probably wouldn't work super well in my in my pot plant, like planter box, because that might be a little bit too aggressive. Alrighty. I'm thinking I might want to put in some color. Hang on, I just need to put all this stuff out of the way. So I say color, I literally picked out a gray, but so as you may have seen, on these ones I put in these little kind of banners or like headers for different sections of stuff, like on my calendar and whatever else. So I thought maybe I could do some sectioning on this one. I'm thinking that the kind of, what do we call it? Like the project... Yeah, no, shock, it's the N95. Who would have thunk it? Yeah, you only have massive harvests, yeah. As opposed to me in my planter box, which is like coming along with my scissors, like gonna collect my chives. Can't remember where I was going with this. This is probably where I'm going to put the project tracker thing that we were talking about. Progress tracker is what we were calling it. This is the progress tracker. This is the checklist, right? So the checklist steps, the one-off things, go here, and then the repeated things that we do over and over and over, they go here. Nice. So how do I want to do this in a way that doesn't suck? I think, okay, how many spaces do we actually have here? We've got like 31 if I do it like that. Or if we pull off the tape, we have 36, 37-ish, which makes sense because there's 38 down. Yeah. I'm at least going to put my little bar of color in here, which means I'm going to need some washi tape because I like it when the edges are nice and crisp. It just makes my soul happy. Oh, actually, I moved this over. I've been storing my extra washi tape in a box from Archer and Olive, like the Valentine's box or something, and it was just getting a little bit, I don't know, annoying to open and close because it didn't really fit in my shelf properly. So I put it, let's see if I can close the lid and show you. I put my extra washi tapes in this little clear container so that then I could use them nice and easy like. We're going to use one that I've already used up a lot of, because then maybe I'll be able to close the container eventually. The lid is one that kind of, I don't know if you can really see it, it like sits down into the box, which means that when things come up to the very edge or like top edge of the box, they don't actually sit in there properly, which is like not ideal. Something in my cupboard just fell over and it scared the bejesus out of me. Do you guys ever have that, like when you're at home by yourself, which not that I am right now, Vogel's around, but more so when I'm at home by myself, and even like the smallest noise is like, oh my god, there's a murderer. Like I'm constantly kind of keeping an ear out, especially when I'm home alone, for like even just like regular house noises, like when your house just kind of, you know, creaks or clicks or whatever, just because it's a house. Those things like freak me out. So I'm just like constant vigilance, but then also like constantly just scaring myself. We also seem to have this tendency, Vogel and I, of watching things in bed or like downstairs or whatever before bedtime that are just like scary. Yeah. like yesterday we watched a Poppy's Playtime video and I'm like, great, toys are coming to kill me. Like that's not what I really wanted for my life, but I guess this is how I die. Like, yeah. Rice cracker packaging. Yeah, the rice cracker packaging for washi tape is a really good idea. I would like to do some organization of my washi tape drawer. And again, if you have any ideas for live streams and things that you would like to see, you let me know, all right? Because I was thinking, like, one of the options on the poll for this video was organizing my washi tape drawer. But you guys wanted to see my project planning. You wanted to see all this crazy. Now, hopefully it makes sense. Like, hopefully you kind of get where I'm going with this, because I know that anybody coming in at this stage would look at that and be like, has Jess lost the plot? Like, Jess has got her red string out with all of the little pictures on the wall being like, this is how it's going to work. I'm not crazy. Like, there we go, my details. So my project plan, this one is going to be my kind of like project action steps, or like, I'm just going to call it the project checklist. And I think as part of this checklist, rather than just having like one column running down the page, I'm going to make it two. In particular for ones that like, we'll have one side which is just all of this stuff, and then we'll have the other side which can be like these one-off things that kind of merge and happen on the side here. Yeah, we're all mad here. I love the crazy bit. You'd watch me organize the washi. Yeah. I think that washi organization would be a bit of fun. There we go. So, rice cracker packaging for the washi. So you know when, okay, maybe you don't, when you buy rice crackers at the supermarket, like the ones that are like, you know, yay big or whatever, they come in those little kind of like plastic shells that look kind of like, if you look at it from the side, you've got like the edge of the packet, and then you've got like a dip for where the rice cracker sits, and then another dip for where the next rice cracker is, and then another dip for where the next rice cracker is. And then there's usually like 4 rows or something. Yeah. And then that sits in a plastic like sleeve or whatever. So your rice crackers sit in there. But they can also be used to, once you've like eaten the rice crackers and you kind of clean them out, you can also just store your rolls of washi tape in those holes as well. So then they don't roll around in your drawer, which is pretty cool. I just don't buy rice crackers, so I don't have any, so I can't really show you. It's pretty cool though. It's pretty nifty way of like, you know, reusing items. Because right now with like this method of storing the washi, like it's good because I can see the washi tape, like I can see what I've got. But if I want the one on the bottom, say, I need to go through like the whole stack to get it. Whereas if you have the rice cracker storage method, you just pull from the top because they're all kind of like sitting there in a line, like that would sit in the rice cracker container, and then you'd have another one next to it, which would be a row of washi, and one next to it, so on and so forth. Yeah. Oh, you're more tired than you realized. No, don't walk with migraines. I mean, walking in general isn't really my party, but I hope that you're feeling better soon, because that's really sucky. So, for the project checklist, we start with the initial brain dump. Haha! Alrighty. So this is brainstorm. topics, ideas. Nice. And then once we have our ideas, personal ideas, I'm actually just going to put this all as one kind of thing. So we have the brainstorming of my initial thoughts. We have the brainstorming from the survey. We have the brainstorming from Bujo. We have the brainstorming from the team. And then, like, once all of that's done, we'll probably have enough ideas. So, initial, we have the survey. We have Bujo. We have the Bujo book. That's probably a good idea. And then we can have all of your glorious ideas. Saving the best for last. From the team. Heckin' yeah. Okay, so just to make sure that we can kind of keep track of it, we have done the initial, the survey, the Bujo, the question mark, and the team. Okay, then once we've done all those, we need to sort them into keep versus not keep. Ooh, salt and tubes that would be good for them too. Oh no, you have to buy and eat the cookies. What a hard life it is. The sacrifices we make indeed. Oh, yeah, see, because like my washi tape at the moment, it's all sitting in drawers in like a line, but as soon as you kind of like take one out, then they start like rolling in the place of where ones were, and it's like that's not a very usable system. Who thought that up? Somebody silly, probably me. So once we have that, then we need to figure out which ones we want to like keep. So like sort topic ideas. Keep versus not. Yep. And then once we've sorted them, we can then do the mapping of the ideas. Map ideas. And hopefully you guys kind of know what I mean when I say mapping ideas. It's effectively like making a mind map. Yeah. So if we shove you to the side, my dear friend, and also shove you to the side and shove everything to the side and bring back our paper. Oh, our paper. My favorite. So, boy, go away, tape. So we'll have like, Bujo berries or whatever we were calling it. So we've got the Bujo Berry series, and then we have like the different kind of topics that we could do. So it could be things like collections. And then we have like the original collections, and we have the additional collections. And then from the original, we have the index. We have the future log. We have the monthly log. And we're just got the daily log. And then, like, technically, I don't know if the key was actually a collection. It was just one that you could also have, but, like, stuff it will put it in here as well. The key. And then we can have, like, what else? Like, supplies and materials. And then we can have things like terminology. And then we can have indexing versus threading. And we can have like the notebook, the pens, the extras. We can have like digital versus analog, which is analog you if you're English like me. Well, English like that. Berries was like way back because I can't write things nicely in my journal. So I wrote Bujo series. Like when I was trying to write Bujo series, I wrote Bujo berries instead. So it's like promote berries instead of promote series. But yeah, so this is kind of what I mean by mapping. It's like the idea of kind of mind mapping it, finding the connections between things, so that when I have like, my video on indexing, I say, well, one of the ways that your index can be made more powerful is with the use of page threading. So make sure to go check out that video next, kind of a thing. So that's the idea that I have here. Like, we map it out properly so that you can make the connection in the video. So I need to do that. Yeah. Anyways, we'll put Boudreaux berries away. Goodbye, Boudreaux berries. We'll bring back our year just list that we are writing out. There we go. Once we've done the mapping of the ideas, we then also have to like, why does it say pick videos? Because I might have more ideas than I actually need. Because I kind of already picked the videos in the keep sort, didn't I? So now I'm very confused. Double plus pick videos. Well, I mean, technically speaking, like the Boudreaux Basic series is one that I like want to do in May, but I'm not necessarily going to do every single video of it in May. So maybe it's like, pick videos for pick videos, sequence videos, and end screen links. Okay. I feel like I don't necessarily need that one though, do I? Because I've already picked which ones I want, and then once I sequence them, I know which ones I'm actually going to be doing. So maybe that one is actually not a step that I need. But sorting into keep and not keep, and then the mapping and linking, those ones I do need. Alrighty, we're going to map the ideas, and then we're going to sequence them. Alrighty, so now as we've got that, we then also have the side quests that we need to fill in as well. Okay, so other things that, are you doing another month of planning for May? This is my month of planning. Yeah, so the month of planning for me is effectively just like a video per day. So it's kind of like Vlogmas at different times of the year. So I was thinking of, instead of doing like a month where I do like in my journal, we would do a month of videos, but all of the videos are on this kind of like Boudreaux Basics kind of thing. So building up a library of that. Oh, evening bubble tea. I'm so jealous right now. I want it. So sequencing ideas. We're going to do the playlist one because the playlist just goes like pretty much to the video making process, whereas this one kind of gets a bit more interweaved. So I'm going to put this one and then that one. So make Boudreaux Basics playlist. And as part of that, we just have to like make it, which is fine. We have to give it a title. We have to put in a description. We have to give it a short link, those kind of things. So setup, title, description, and short link. So that was that kind of branch of our little roadmap that we've got here. And then the other one is about the progress tracker. So we're going to have progress tracker like as a kind of like, I guess like a kind of main level task, and then we have the kind of underneath that tasks, and that's what the individual dots underneath are representing. So the progress tracker, to make a progress tracker, we need to pick, what do we call it, like video making steps. we then need to sequence them, which we have kind of already done now. Because we did that before on our other piece of paper. Because when I put them into this tracker that we're going to make over here, I want to have them in order so that then it just makes a little more sense, effectively. And then after we sequence them, we can then actually like set up the progress tracker, and then we can populate the progress tracker. It's kind of like a scaffolding kind of thing, and then we actually make it, and the making of it comes after the sequencing of ideas, so we'll put up over there. So populate progress tracker. And then I guess the question is, do I put the biggest task known to man on this and just do like make videos? Because that would be ridiculous. Because this is going to be like a 30 video series or something like that. Okay, maybe not 30, but like quite a few videos. So putting a task on any kind of project checklist that is that big is just, you're not doing yourself any favors, right? Like, if you're anything like me, you get that little dopamine hit every time you check something off a checklist. So if you make the task on the checklist way too big, you're kind of just like delaying your own gratitude, or like not gratitude, your own satisfaction, I suppose. You're like delayed satisfaction, but like unnecessarily. That's why when I do things like my like, we'll write it down here because I have to anyways. One of my tasks to do today is laundry, right? And if I just write down laundry, I'm like, okay, cool. I have to like wash it, dry it, fold it, put it away, all the things. Gratification. See, I know you guys know words, unlike me. Thank you, messy turtle. You have saved me great embarrassment by not knowing English. Even though that time has passed. But like, I could just write laundry and then I have to do all of these different steps to actually get any kind of satisfaction. No. None of that. Break it down, indeed. So like, and you could break it down even more than I'm going to, but usually I like to break it down into wash and dry and put away. And pretty much without fail, I do wash and dry on the day I mean to, and then put away a week later. Does everybody else do that too? Yeah, break down. I could also do things like collect laundry, wash laundry, transfer to dryer, actually dry. I could. I don't need to do that much. Having these three in particular, though, that just like gives me that satisfaction that I need. Live streaming, it's happening. Done. Okay. So we've got that. We don't want to put on a thing that says do video because that would just be ridiculous, because it's just such a big task. I could put out like a, make video 1, 2, 3, 4, but I already am going to have that on the tracker that we're in theory going to have over here. Okay, so where is our other piece of paper? I say other as if there's only one other. There are many, many papers. So we've got the idea of like the video idea, the planning, the prepping, the filming, the editing, all of the steps of editing, the exporting, the uploading, title and thumbnail. This looks like a little face. And then we've got like the actual uploading kind of process, which is all of this kind of stuff. So how many stages have we got on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, transitions. And now, of course, I've done that. I need to start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19. Do I have enough for 19? I should do. No. How many do I have across? 26. I have 26 across if I do a column per thing. Yeah? The only issue is that I don't necessarily work that way in my brain. because I feel like I would prefer to have like a series of tasks and then the videos along the top. That doesn't work either. Alrighty, okay, we're gonna go grab out an example. Okay, so I can show you what I'm talking about. Because we did this last time we had the month of planning. Okay, this is my social media journal where I put in like stuff to do. Okay, this one is the one that I'm looking at. Yeah, so the last time I did this, I had the videos along the top and then all of the action steps along the side, right? And that was kind of the way that I liked to do it, because it was like each column was a video rather than each row was a video. And I think that my brain just works a little bit better that way. Have I done it? I've done it the other way around at some point, I thought. But I can't remember if it was in this journal or if it was in a different one. I feel like it might have been in a different one. Let's see. I have quite a few journals, so I don't necessarily remember which one is which. Oh, yuck, no. Yeah, I don't like it when you leave the journal. I don't like when you leave the journal too long. I don't like when you leave your wet laundry too long. And it starts to take on that kind of like damp smell. And then you effectively just have to rewash it again because blurg. All right. We need to go find the other version of this because I think I have one that is the other way around, but I just want to compare the pair. Snuff, please. Where would I have put you? I may also just be misremembering. Like, there is a strong possibility that this thing that I'm looking for that doesn't actually exist. That would be unfortunate. No, those are just notes. I think did I like maybe put it in May projects? No, because that would have been, this was the May one, wasn't it? The one that we're looking at here? Possibly. Habit tracker. I feel like I should show you what I'm looking at so that you guys can kind of see as well. I'm just looking through my journal from last year. But I didn't think I had put them in here. How frustrating. You say you don't need an index. I know. Well, it's more so just like I would never think to come back, like to need to come back to look at this. So now I'm just like, oh gosh, like what have I done? I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe it doesn't actually exist, and I'm just kind of like, because I have, okay, this one is a similar idea, a little bit different, but this one was essentially the reverse, but it was for school. Brush. So I had the like individual parts down the side, right? So like lesson on units and conversion, lesson on this, lesson on that, rah, 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 and then the different stages along the top, whereas this one was reversed. So individual projects and all the steps that need to be done for them. And I feel like I like this one better, but maybe I could get away with doing it this way and I'll be okay. How many steps do I have here? What's action step? Title, action step. Sketch layout, filming. What? I don't even remember what I was talking about. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, bubble tea adventure. So excited. Lucked. Kat decided to come and be part of the stream. Because, yeah, for this one, because it was topic planning, we had, like, the parts that were the repetitive over and over and over, and then we had the one-off things down the bottom. But, anywho. Alrighty, we're making our peace with it. We're going to do the other way around. But does that mean that I need to now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So that's 27 steps. And I think that's why I put them down the side here, because I could fit 27 along here. I can't fit 27 along the top. I can at most, like at very most, fit 25 and then only have to represent each video with like a number, which I don't really like the idea of in general, because that just doesn't seem very user-friendly either. I swear I did this again, didn't I? No, maybe I mean, I must not have, because it's not in here, but I thought that I had. Oh well. Anywho, so I'm going to need to set this type of thing up for my videos for this project, and I'm wondering if I don't use both of them so that then I can go the whole way across. But I feel like it does kind of need to be a double page spread, doesn't it? Like, realistically, because of the number of steps that I want to be able to do, I probably do need to. Sigh. I was really hoping just to use this one page from my project plan, but I guess that's just not in the cards for it. I will... Yeah, big ass tipping. Yeah. I think I'll just turn the page and we'll just do it here, which is not necessarily what I would have had liked to have done, but it is what I am doing now. Yeah. So I'm gonna need... I like the idea of having the every second line highlighted, because it just makes it a lot easier to read. So I'm probably going to do that. And I'm probably going to have the same steps roughly. Yeah. We'll do yeah, big tip in like a whole page. Yeah. I might as well, considering if I was going to tip in a whole page, I might as well just do the whole next spread, I guess. And I can like remove this washi tape and like move it over here or whatever if I want to. And then I would use this page possibly for something else related to the project plan. Like, this could possibly be about like statistics. What, you've got McDonald's? That's not fair. Why would you tell me this? We're gonna highlight every second line and then just like make my piece with it. Using my beautiful trusty N95 because that's the one I like. And I would do this with washi tape, but it would take like way too long, and it's not super necessary. Like, if I'm careful with my lines, I can still make them look fairly straight, and it'll be fine. I find that one-off headers I prefer to do with the washi tape because I like them to be like super, super crisp. These ones I'm not as fussed about. Splat. The utmost concentration. Yeah, treat yourself indeed. The problem is that I've treated myself too much recently. I think that sometimes in the evening I get very snacky, and it's like, you're not necessarily even hungry, you're just like, I just need to eat kind of a thing. And last night I think I did maybe a little bit too much snacking. I woke up this morning, I felt so nauseous. It was like, I was genuinely lying there in bed like, do I call off the stream today because you just feel so rubbish? I'm like, absolutely not, because you didn't do last week's because you were sick. So stuff it. You'll get over it. Get up and do some stuff. And I am feeling better now, but it was just like, in the moment, I was just like, ugh. Like, no, we don't need any Makudo. He is a lovely partner and he'd totally go get me some, but we don't need any. Let's do a little measure. Could count all the lines, don't want to. So we're going to use the ruler instead. 13 and a half. There we go. 13 and a half, which means just one more. Ha, look at me go. So good. When you did the washi before, I thought you were about to draw and do the washi. Yeah, that would be a lot of work. And that's not to say that, like, you know, I don't respect people who do that kind of thing. But like, for this one in particular, I don't actually mind them being drawn by hand. Like, usually I find that as long as I'm careful, any kind of small inconsistencies, like the one that I just did here, are usually kind of masked by having lots of them together. I'm obviously thinking about this too much now, because now I'm like, oh, it doesn't probably help that this side of my journal is a lot more uneven because I have stuff in this pocket. So let's take the stuff out of the pocket. And that'll make it a little easier to actually lay this flat properly. There we go. We'll put this stuff to the side and just make my life a little bit easier in terms of drawing these lines. You pull the "but it's my birthday" card. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Monica. Happy birthday to you. Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! Hip hip, hooray! 1, 2. I don't know how old you are. We'll just leave it at that. So, there we go. Happy birthday, Monica, though, and I hope you are having a very good day. I hope that you get very spoiled because you deserve it. Yay! You can sing like, well, thank you. I try my hardest sometimes. Not most of the time, though. Because I'm stuck in that kind of like, I don't know if you guys had this when you were a kid. I was talking with Vogel about it the other day. Like that mentality of, well, if I don't try and fail, then I can just say it's because I didn't try. And I have that, I get stuck in that kind of mentality a lot. It's like, well, if I don't put in my best effort and then I don't succeed, I can just be like, oh, it's because I didn't put in my best effort. And that's just like a dumb way to think about things. And I know it's a dumb way to think about things. Like, just like try, just do better and try, because then you can say like, well, at least I tried. Like, you know, you can have the satisfaction of having tried to do the thing. But no, I most often get stuck in that mentality of like, nah, I'm like safe from the idea of failure if I didn't try to start with, which is not a good way to live. Let's see. So paper cuts, self on journal, rude. So we have our lines, and I feel like it looks kind of silly because you've got like this very large section of the page at the top, but it's necessary because that's where you write all of the video titles. Yeah. She puts most of us to shame with her singing. No, don't compliment me. I get weird. Also, Tink, don't forget to drink. Whatever your drink of choice is. I'm very much a fear of failure. Constantly that. So we have our different steps. I don't necessarily agree with this sequence of things, so I'm probably going to have to write them out and re-sequence them. Okay? So rather than doing this on here, which is like, you know, a task and having to write them out and whatever, we're actually going to jump into Word and do it there instead. We need to put these guys to the side. Well, not you. I actually need you. But we're going to put you to the side. I've done demonstrations. I've done singing in my videos before. I can't remember which videos they're on. There's ones from last year, though. I need to do the thing. Julie, do the thing. And hopefully you guys will be able to see this. We'll turn up the sizing a little bit. Okay. So, can we see? Yes, we can see the thing. Smiley face. Excellent. Okay, so like we talked about in my digital tools video, I'm not very good at writing fast and legibly, which you may have noted from my beautiful pictures that we've done today. So rather than writing all of these steps out that I've got and then trying to sequence them, I'm just going to type them and then we'll sequence them from that. So we said title was one of them. Action step, no idea what that was. Actually, no, I totally know what that was. It's the thing at the end of the video that I want people to do. So rather than action step, we're going to do link to next video sorted. Sketching the layout, so we're like prepping layouts and pages. We have filming. We have an intro, and then we have filming overhead. And then we have filming B-roll, and then we have filming outro, which I had just originally put these as A-roll, B-roll, but I think that breaking it down like this is actually going to make me think a little bit more intentionally about what I'm doing. Yeah. So we've got those ones. Then after the filming, we have the thumbnail photo, it says, which is just like taking the picture. And then we also have thumbnail made. Yep, and we've got... Then we have the color correcting of the footage, which I feel like is like all of the editing steps, but then I have editing separate. So we're just going to do editing dash and then just like copy that a couple of times because we're going to have a couple of editing steps and they can all be kind of fairly sequential. Let's see. So color, we have the trimming, we have, whoa, spelling, squeeze me. After trimming, we have scripting, which doesn't make sense to put there. That's actually really dumb. So it's actually really dumb. Planning and scripting can be up here because that makes sense. Wow, can't even spell planning. What kind of channel is this? That's bad, but anywho, it's mainly a typing, not a spelling. Chapters and cards. Chapters and cards, because typically when I'm going through my video editing process, what I'll tend to do is I'll actually color the video footage like on the... This is really hard to explain if you don't do video editing, but like when I put my video files onto my editor, they're just like in a long line and I'll trim them, cut, and then I'll put a color over the top of just the file on the kind of like video track, I guess. It doesn't change what you actually see. It's just like a visual for me personally. Yeah, I'm not a spelling teaching channel, so I'm okay. Exactly. So once we've done the titles and chapters and cards, I had voice overing. And then we've got, yeah, because that's just the general editing stages. Export, we have the upload stages, which is description, which is, I think like we're actually going to have to do this in the same kind of way. There we go. This is why I wanted to type them out so that I could kind of like change them around as I go, because I need to have everything there first before I try and change stuff around. Oh, that's such great birthday plans, Monica. I hope that your Kmart and board gaming goes super well, because that sounds excellent. Description, that says direction, but we get the idea, right? Description, and then we also need to do the related videos links. We need to do the materials. We need to do the playlists. We need to do the thumbnail uploaded. We need to do the tags. We need to do the monetization settings, steppings settings. And then we need to do the end screen and cards screen. And we need to do the cards. And then we need to do the schedule. And then after scheduling, we also then need to promo, which is effectively just posting it to stuff like my Facebook page and whatever. And then we also need to do respond to comments. And then that should be about it. Okay, so these are our steps, which we're just going to make it a little bit. There we go. And of that, we have 27. We have 27 steps in theory, which means that we actually probably need more space on the thing that we've already made. Yeah? Is this an order that's good though? Okay, so title, linking to next video. I think I actually need to like... The link to the next video needs to be part of the prepping and planning. That looks fine. Thumbnail, photo, thumbnail made. I might just put these at the top even though they're not necessarily gonna happen first. Thumbnail, photo, thumbnail made. Thumbnail idea, actually. And then that would give us 28 things to do. Oh, it's okay. I hope that your day with your wife went super well. That's exciting. Date day is always a good time, right? Link to next video, prepping layouts and pages, planning and scripting, blah, 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 export, blah, 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 blah. Okay, was there anything else that we had on our list? Thumbnail, script, blah, 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 expecting caption writing, cards, monetization, uploading, time stamping, title card, time cards. Editing, we needed to put in a thing. Yeah. Editing with title cards, and the title cards and chapters and cards are different. And then we also had the timestamps, description, related videos, materials, upload, timestamps. Nice. And then we also had, it was like lots of steps here, right? Which means we are going to need to put some more gray lines in, but that's okay. That's fine. We can have a nice robust system here. What did I say that the last one was? Scheduling, timestamps, cards, monetization, blah, 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 blah. Cards and screens. I think that's all. Okay, so in that case, we actually have 30. Are there any of these that don't actually need to be there? I feel like filming could just be... Oh, no, I actually kind of like that. I kind of like where it's at the moment. Outro, blah, 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 blah. Yep, okay, fine. We're done. This looks great. We're done. we're not done. We need to actually put it into my tracker. But then we will be done. So we've decided that there are actually 30 things that need to happen. And I've gone and put my journal underneath my keyboard. That doesn't help. And so far, we only have 14-ish, if you include the top line, which is only 28? No. Really? Yeah, because 30 would be like 15. Okay, sure, why not? So I just need 2 more lines of grey, and then I'll be happy, because I'll have like a top line, question mark? Yeah. No top line. I need 1 line of grey. Yeah, 1 more line of grey. Ow. My finger is running up the side of my journal, and it is slowly paper cutting me. That was painful. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. Oh, do you want a step for captioning? Actually, yeah, I do. That would be a good idea, because caption putting on is a good idea. I don't know if you can hear my hand rubbing against my desk. It's not pretty. There we go. We'll put 1 in for captioning as well, because that's a good step to include, like you said. I'm not usually very good at making sure that I actually like caption my videos properly. I usually just let the auto English one do, but I think that because this is a basic series and we want to make it as accessible as possible, that is a very reasonable idea. Yeah. Bye, Monica. Have a fun time at Kmart. That's exciting. Hope your birthday goes well. Or like what's left of it or whatever. Sweet, this is looking good. I'm very excited about this project. Like actually getting these things done. Still need to decide how I'm going to use this space, but for now, having a look at that one and just checking our previous list to make sure that I know what I'm doing. So I just did like little dots, and I think that worked quite well. And I had like an upload with all of those, and I'll do an editing with all of those. And I'm also going to start at the bottom because then I know I have enough space. So responded to comments is here. Respond to comments looks good. We have the promo. We have the scheduling. We have the uploading. We decided we were going to put captions in there because that is a very reasonable idea. So sensible. All right. Can you guys see? Do you guys want to be a little closer? I don't know. Like, I don't want to make you dizzy with my pen or nothing. And I do know that when I get closer, it gets a little darker, but hopefully that's okay. There we go. Captions. And then after the captions, well, before the captions, we have the end screen. We have the cards. Before the cards, we have the monetization settings. Before monetization, we have the tags. And before that, we have the thumbnail, I guess. And before that, we have the playlists. I mean, like, again, these things can kind of happen in any order. It's just more like needing to keep track of them. And we have timestamps. And related links. Nice. Description. And all of those fall under upload. Description. Upload. And I mean, considering the fact that we put thumbnail in there, we probably should have put title in there, but it's like fine. Yeah. How did you get your highlighted lines so straight? So 1, practice. 2, they're not as straight as you think. It's the cheerleader effect. And 3, what I usually like to do is that when I'm putting the highlighted lines in, I just try and hold this entire part of my arm like really steady. So apply the pressure from the side of the pen onto the page, keep all of this really, really steady and straight, and then just drag the whole arm towards myself. Because if you try and turn your wrist to do the line, you're inevitably going to curve your pen, if that kind of makes sense. And of course, yeah, turn the book sideways. Make sure that you're pulling your pen in a direction that is comfortable to you. For me, it's always towards myself rather than like away or on the side or anything like that. And you're just using the kind of dot grid as like guides to help you get it straight. Get it straight. Cute. Okay, so that was the uploading, and then we have the exporting. Well, I mean, technically that came before, but export. Then we have all of the various sections of editing. So we have like the voiceovering and the titles and cards, or the title card, like chapters and cards. And we have the pen. Don't be a biznitch. Stop being a biscuit. Then we said we had like trimming, color correcting, all of that kind of thing. So this one we're going to call chapters and cards. This one we're going to call voiceover. This one we're going to call title cards, which are like those overlays and stuff. And then we're going to do the trimming and the color correction. And that will all come under the heading of editing. Brilliant. Yay! And then before the editing, we have the 4 filming steps. So filming, outro, B-roll, A-roll, intro. And that is all under the filming heading. And of course, like I'm going through this and I'm doing this in terms of like a video project, but do make sure that you're considering like how could I use this in my projects? Yeah, like what kind of projects do you do that have like a thing that you just need to do repeatedly? Yeah. So for instance, when I was teacher, that was things like planning lessons. So these would be all of my steps that go into planning a lesson for each of the different lessons that I have in each of the columns. similar ideas with whatever your line of work is or whatever projects that you are doing. So like if we were thinking about it in terms of like projects around the house, you could have repeated steps of like brainstorming for the project. So making sure you had all your ideas, seeking the advice of professionals, upskilling in areas that you might need. You could have sourcing the materials, like writing the list of materials you need, sourcing the materials, like all of those kind of things, right? So trying to take this and apply it to your personal projects. But for me, we've got the filming stage, and then we've got before that the planning and scripting and the prepping. So we're going to do prepping, prep, materials, plan / script the video. And before planning and scripting, we need to have the link to next video, or the action step, or like whatever, which I actually remember what the action step was now, which is nice. I was looking back on past Jess, like, what the heck are you talking about? But then I'm like, oh, actually that made a lot of sense. Apologies. And then before the link to next video, we have the thumbnail steps, which actually should all be nested, which is unfortunate because I've done the dot there. Eternal sadness. And it's especially sad because it's on a gray line rather than a white line, because the white line I can just stick a piece of paper over, it's fine, but because it's on the gray line, it's a little bit more difficult. Are there any steps that I need to do before that I can just use instead? I don't think so, unless I put the title first, which seems silly. I mean, I put the title afterwards, but that's kind of, yeah. They can technically happen at the same time, but I still like the idea of writing title before. Yeah, it's a call to action, effectively. That's what the action step was. We're just going to have to fix it. Oh, well. So for the fix today, we're going to be using some white sticky labels, the kind that you get when you go to, like, conferences that say, hi, my name is. And we're just going to cut a little piece off. There we go. Cut a little piece off. We're going to take my tiny tweezers. I know that this is very hard to see. There we go. Take my tiny tweezers. We're going to color it in gray before I stick it down, because if I color it in gray when it's on there, I'm accidentally going to go over it like multiple times. There we go. That looks cute. Looks gray. Like I'll end up going over the pen that's already on there, and then we'll see if I can very gently get this off. Surgery. Let's try and put that straight so it doesn't look stupid, or not. We'll just leave it there. Ha 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 ha. See, it's blending. Good job on our surgery. Excellent job, Dr. Jess. Well, hi Tracy. And hi, Steph. We're going to be here for like a little bit longer because I just need to finish up this page, and then we'll kind of just check in and see where we're at in terms of this project planning. I need to put in some more gray lines. I'm going to have a thumbnail here, so let's just like make the thumbnail. This one is going to be like photos taken for the thumbnail. And then that one is going to be, like the one above it, is going to be the thumbnail idea. I'm not going to write it down though, because this pen is going to smear if I go over it. And then that one will be thumbnail. And then the one above it is title. So I just need 2 lines of gray. I have very much eaten into the space where I would typically write the like video idea. I'm just gonna have to write it small, which is fine. Like as long as I still have some space for it, otherwise that would be sad. Whee! And then one more above it for the title. you can see like that isn't perfectly straight. Like that comes out a little bit, but when you look at them all together, it's really not that big a deal. And this is also why I use a very light color for this, because I don't want it to be too noticeable. You wrote in my video, it's been trying to write in all caps my regular lists. Yeah, I've been doing all caps for quite a while now, so I am probably faster with it than I used to be, but it did take some getting used to. The only reason I started, because when I first started doing bullet journal, I wrote in all caps, and that's not like natural to me. Usually I would write in lowercase. But I would typically find it takes longer to write in all caps, but my writing overall would look neater, because when I write, like my regular writing, especially when I'm just, being quick, is quite messy. But if I'm writing thumbnail, like in my neat writing, it's usually italicized is typically what I would do, but it's harder to be consistent that way. So I'll have like different levels of italicization. Italicization, yeah. So that's why I like in part will write in all caps in my bullet journal, because it's just like everything is kind of uniform looking, and it's a little bit easier to keep it looking uniform, and thus a little bit easier to keep it looking neat for me. Title, and then the thumbnail would be the idea. Gorge. Alrighty, so that is where that is at. I'm wondering if I want to do maybe some vertical lines as well, so I can kind of see where the videos are. In terms of like the columns, because one of the issues that I found with this one was that like this X here, I have to like scan my eyes very carefully, like use my finger to go all the way up and be like, oh, that's weekly plan with me 1. Whereas if I had vertical lines to go with it, I think it might have been a little bit easier. So I'm thinking I might put some vertical lines in. I'm thinking I might start the vertical lines here. Actually, I think I might start the vertical lines on the edge, because I like the edge to be the gray. Like that's why I started the bottom line here in gray, because it feels like it's more enclosed. So we'll do it this way. I'm flipping my book upside down because I can actually rest my hand on this page a little bit better. There might be a certain point that I get to that I then flip the book around, but for this one, because this is in line or like level and that one's like lower, I'm just gonna put my hand here. But whee! And you can see, like we said before, when you go over the tombow multiple times, it darkens up. And that's how like you can kind of tell which section you're in, which is nice. All right. And this is how you can make plaid themes as well, by doing lines one direction and then the other, because when you go over it, it darkens up and it looks like a nice little easy plaid. Cool. So at the moment, like, although my hand is off my journal, it's not hovering. It's like effectively butted up against my journal, which actually helps keep me straight, helps keep my pen nicely in line, which makes it a little easier. Like as you go through, like, your pen's kind of getting closer towards the edge of the page, but you just like pull your pen a little bit further through your hand, so that then you can use the edge of the journal as a guideline. Whee! Splat. But because I don't need to go all the way to the edge, I might not actually need to turn my journal, which will be nice. This is looking kind of cute though. Looks like a little picnic rug. Cute. And I'm not going to do one more over, because you can see that like this respond to comments one is in that last one. So that's where we're going to stop that. It's looking cute. If you need to read it later, you need to print it. Otherwise, it's a combo of cursive and print. Nice. That's looking pretty cute, though. We'll just zoom you out so we can see the whole thing. That's in. Come on, you can do this. Very cute. So we have our, like, one side here. I'll also put lines on the other side, and we'll do that in a second. But this is the progress track right here. So, like, pick video making steps. Like, we can already check these off. Pick video making steps, we did. Sequence them, we did that with our little Word document from before. And then setting up the tracker, we're effectively doing now. So such progress on our project. Feeling very good. But we want to put those ones over here. Yeah, so like I've got the spaces to write the video ideas. I have 3 squares worth though. It's not like huge. It's quite small compared to what I would probably have liked to have had. But having all of these steps written out and being able to keep really good track of how these videos are going is kind of more important than being able to write out like a full title or whatever, in my opinion, at least. I think that this will be more valuable. And I could put a tip in, like a little flip out that I can write stuff on, but I'm not going to do that because I honestly couldn't be bothered. This is yeah, eventually I'll stop saying it, but not today. This is the one that's hard because my hand gets stuck on the this guy, which is why I've stopped halfway through. But I intentionally stopped here because I think it'll be a little bit easier to hide the fact that I stopped. There we go. Can't remember where I was going with this thought. I am going to flip my journal around because that does keep getting stuck and that's problematic to me. That one was not very straight, but it's okay. It's okay. The real thing that matters about this page is the functionality of it, and these grey lines, while you could consider them decorative, it's actually more about readability of my list, yeah? Being able to very clearly and easily see which of these steps I'm thinking about with regards to which video. There's a little beeping noise, and I don't know if you guys can hear it or if it's coming from downstairs. There we go, that's cute. What I do sometimes like to do with these lists is I will write the action steps out on both sides so that I can see from both edges like what's going on. But because this is going to be a series that I think is going to have a lot of videos, possibly, or at least that's my initial assumption, I'm going to use up all of these for video ideas, or I'm going to put in enough lines that I can use all of it up for video ideas. There we go. And sadly, the last one can't be highlighted because there's an even number of spaces. And we did the first one as a grey line. But yay! We have like a full proper table and that makes me very happy. It's Vogel powering up. I do think that it is Vogel because he's downstairs. He's making tonkotsu ramen today and he's using our Instant Pot for the first time to do it. So look at that. We've even like started our project properly. Ha! So I guess that this space will possibly be used for, like, I could do my brainstorming of topic ideas here, like write them down properly. Actually, that's like a pretty good idea. For the actual mapping out of them, though, I'm probably not going to do that in here just because it would be like really, what's the word? It's going to be messy, and I'd rather not have it messy in here. Like, I have done brain dumps in here before, but they're usually ones, or like mind maps, but they're usually ones that are actually quite neat and like smaller, whereas this one I know is going to be a bit of a beast, yeah? So again, if you have any ideas for the bullet journal basic series, which is what I've been planning here, do let me know, because as said, like, as someone who's been doing bullet journaling for a while, I will probably miss topics that that the beginners could actually really benefit from. And I want this, like, that's one of my kind of goals for this series that I'm making. I want it to be as handy of a resource as possible, right? Like, I want it to be kind of like an all-inclusive guide as much as possible, because that's what I do. I'm a little bit extra like that. But yeah, so this is looking cute. Have we addressed all of the steps on our little sequence here? So we've put all these guys in. We've got populate the tracker in. That's looking cute. We also have the promoting of the series is on this one more than anything. But we could also have like a proper kind of like promotion-esque kind of stage. So series promotion. but I think I need to think a little bit more about the promotion, like what actually is involved in that, like which platforms do I want to promote it on, do I want to make like graphics or anything like that for it, those kind of things. Alrighty, header ideas, graphic ideas. We'll bring back my big boy, my brainstorming book, because this is where we started writing things down. So we have header ideas, lettering ideas, all of the good stuff. Put it on the list. I wrote myself a note of where to go back and check. Yeah. Are you planning to taunt us for a while? No. Not like a huge, like, big kind of like, previously on bullet journal basic, like none of that kind of thing. Just like more, how do I get the word out that this is a thing that's actually going to be like, there for people. What do we say? Header ideas. And we said, see, this is my chicken scratch, like my messy writing when I'm just going really, really fast. Key with signifiers and bonus. And then we've got, let's see, going back and reading, love it. Simple lettering ideas. Polygraphy plus. Nice. Ways of fixing different mistakes. Fabulous. We love fixing mistakes. Mistakes. Cute. Like all of this, how everything is a mess. But it's like establish your why. Yep. Purpose first. We love that. These are great ideas, team. I very much appreciate it too, because again, like I have my own ideas. I know what I think would be of value, but like you guys know better effectively. Like I only have, my way of bullet journaling and the way that I do things to base this on. Yeah. So to make it as helpful as possible, like I need to talk to people who bullet journal different to me. That's where you guys come in. We're a beautifully diverse team. I love it. Alrighty. Finding your spreads and styles. Finding spreads and styles that work for you. See, this is where Jess would type usually. Avoiding overwhelm, 100%. Because it's always there. It's lurking. Overwhelm. There we go. That is almost an M. It's an alien M. It has 3. There we go. And if I've missed one, don't worry. I am coming back. We're also going to write and 2 hours, 10 minutes. So that I know to come back and check here too. Expectations versus realities. Excellent. So it's like once we kind of collect all of these ideas, and you guys keep chucking them in because I will come back and check them out. All goods. So once I've got all of those ideas, then I can do that beautiful mind mapping that we talked about before. We can find it. Yeah. So that then I can link the ideas together. So I know how things should be sequenced, how we should kind of put them together or link them together throughout the series and that kind of stuff. But this isn't looking too bad, right? So just as a general little kind of recap, just in case you weren't here at the start, or if you've forgotten, because it's been a hot minute, it's cool. We talked about the idea that projects can be like different shapes, which sounds very, but like, again, bear with me. You can have a very sequential project, so step, then step, then step, then step. Or you can have one where it's like you can do multiple things before the next step, but they don't have to be done in any particular order. And we called this the leaf or the lips or the onion or the jellyfish or the tree, up to you. And then we have the kind of cyclic processes, right? The ones where you have to do a series of steps, but repeatedly over and over. And you can use those different shapes to kind of build your project to make your project map. Okay, our project map ended up looking like this. So we had parts of it that were sequential, we had parts of it that were lips, jellyfish, leaves, and we had parts that were cyclic. And we also talked about the idea that when you're thinking about your cyclic parts, it can be helpful to think about it on like a one project basis. Think about it in a line first and then make it a loop. So like for one video, this is what I have to do. but I'm not making one video. I'm making multiple. So I have to do this, and then again, and then again, and then again. Yeah? Alrighty. So, thank you for joining me. Again, if you have any ideas for the Bujo Basic series, or if you have any ideas for live streaming and things that you want to see, do let me know. I'm going to go through and read all of them. Otherwise, team, have a fabulous rest of your day, rest of your weekend, and I will see you back here next week for something else. Goodbye, gorgeous humans. Bye for now.